we hope, because you've heard me say over and over, public sentiment is everything. Abraham Lincoln.
When we got there, people were really looking for U.S. leadership. They refused to accept the idea that the United States was going to withdraw, even though President Trump is now saying that that's what he wants to do. And they would repeatedly say to us that if the United States is not continually involved, either because they're in the agreement or because they're involved in other ways, that this is not going to work, because they don't believe that China or the European Union can take the leadership role and get other countries to get involved in this climate action plan that came out of the Paris Agreement.
I felt very good to be there, because without the U.S., we would have looked as if we'd forgotten that we're on this planet.
Good morning. I'm Kathy Castor of Florida. I chaired the House Select Committee on the Climate Crisis. All across America and across the globe right now, young people are demanding climate action. I want them to know that we hear you and we intend to take bold, creative action to confront the climate crisis. We're running out of time. And as President Trump and Majority Leader McConnell in the Senate undermine our efforts to tackle the climate crisis, we went to Madrid, led by Speaker Pelosi and this fantastic delegation, to let the world know that the United States of America is still in. Local communities, states, academic institutions, scientists, everyday Americans are working to tackle the cost of the climate crisis.
They made a tremendous difference, were well received, and we're very proud to join in wearing the pin. We're still in with the American flag on it. Next year, we have the G7 meeting in the United States. What happens at the G7, you know that the G7 heads of state takes place. But you may not be aware that following that by a month or two is the G7 heads of parliament. And so I will be hosting the G7 heads of parliament at the last meeting, which was in Brest, France, to talk about the oceans. They didn't talk about it at the heads of state meeting, but we did at the heads of parliament meeting. We announced our theme, which is climate crisis, economic, environmental justice. Because the environmental justice is a very important part of this, as we learned at the vulnerable, as we further learned at the Vulnerable Nations Conference, not only for vulnerable nations, but for vulnerable people within all the indigenous people and the rest within all of our countries. So we're going to be having that. What was curious to me is when we announced our title here about a few weeks ago, the White House said, well, when we have the G7 here, we're not going to be talking about climate. Well, hopefully we can change the political climate of all of that between now and then, and that they will. It's an issue they cannot avoid. So again, I thank my colleagues for all the actions they have taken, for the experience, judgment, and sense of purpose that they bring to this. And again, we invite the fullest participation, the outside mobilization, which will make all the difference in the world. Thank you all. I think you guys will have a good